Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So for today's video I'm going to be making my March calendar card featuring a picture of Charlotte. So let's go ahead and get to it. Alright, so March for me is Charlotte's birthday. That's just, it's also footy season. Footy starts mid-month. I feel like my baby needs to trump the footy. Maybe next year. Maybe next year we'll do footy instead of Charlotte. But for this year we're going to do Charlotte. So I grabbed this one. I saw it and I'll show you another one in my favourites that I got from Echo Park. It's a 12x12 paper pack. Because I was trying to think of what I wanted to make for Charlotte's birthday. Or what I wanted to use to decorate Charlotte's birthday. And I really love the other one. So I'm going to leave that one for her birthday. But I also saw this one. This one comes as it's called Our Baby. I know she's not really a baby anymore, but it's still got that kitty kind of feel to it. There is also a Our Baby Girl and an Our Baby Boy, but I really loved the neutrality of this one. Yes, it's a word. Just to give you a quick flick through, so you've got, 24 double-sided pages. Some of them are plain, some of them have like month countdowns and stuff. Headers. Great for scrapbooking, great for card making, but obviously today we're going to use it to make my little calendar thing. So, I'm going to start off with a piece of white cardstock. We are going to put a photo of this one, which I don't normally do, but, you know, Charlotte's special. So I'm going to take just a plain piece of white cardstock. This is my quill cardstock, so it's the cardstock that I don't use as much anymore. I still have it here for various reasons. It's great for scrappy stuff. It's great for doing today what I'm doing today, which is using it as a back, like as something to hold this steady. So this is 65 pound, and I don't know how to put it into normal GSM, but it's not flimsy by any stretch, but it's also not solid. So I just want to back it on something so that it's got a little bit of stability to it, because I will say that my February one, I should have done that. So it stayed warped all month, regardless of the fact that I kind of kept it underneath some heavy books for a couple of days. It still stayed warped, so for that reason we're going to add some stability this time around. So I'm just running that piece of cardstock through my die cut machine. I'm going to have that there like that. So it's going to be the backing. You don't have to do that. You don't have to run it through with your die cut. You could obviously just cut that to the right size. I just feel like it's easier, so that's why I do that. And then I know there are some pages I know I want to use, and there's other pages that I'm not quite so sure. I know I want to use the plaid, because that was the part that I saw it just on the picture and went, I need that piece of paper. I'm so in love with plaid right now. And I'm just trying to decide if that's going to be like the background or the foreground. And I'm leaning towards the foreground. Either way, what I'm going to do is cut it. I'm going to cut this piece here. No, I'm not. So I'm going to try and find one that I want for the backing piece, because I want this to sit on the front. No. Ooh, that's nice. Yes, plaid on plaid. I think it's either the brown spots or the brown check. What's on the other side? It's got rainbows. That's got that. So I will never use those. So I will use that one. So I'm going to cut this with my regular sized calendar piece. And I'm going to cut the plaid with the next size down. So these, for anyone that's playing along, these are the Uniquely Creative Nesting Rectangles. I just love them. I just love I love Uniquely Creative's rectangles or dies in general, but I just adore these these squares. So I'm just gonna, because I want the spots to be straight, I'm being very careful with that. We'll go through. Stuff everywhere in here. And I'm just gonna run this through the machine, and then I'll run this one through and I'll be back and we can start putting the card together. I went right in the corner for the plaid because I don't want to waste any. I don't want to waste any. Alright, so then we've got a sort of paired up rectangle. Oh my goodness, that looks good. Good choice. You can never go wrong with spots. You just can't. And then I have this little, well, it's not a little, it's a big picture of Charlotte. And this is it's kind of going to be like my die cut. Rather than using a die, we're just going to have a picture of Charlotte. I'm trying to find my scissors. I put them somewhere. There we go. For the first time ever, they were actually in the jar they're supposed to be in. But I do know I want to cut all around the edge of her. So I'm just going to use those scissors and just cut around Charlotte. Just so I've got a teeny tiny little lip, is that the right word? Edging around her, so I'm not cutting right on her. And then we'll work out where she's going to go on this page. So I think if I had been a bit more organised, I would have done this in a slightly, I would have printed, like got this printed slightly smaller. So this is the standard size 6x4 kind of page. It is a page, like a print. I think I should have had one that was slightly smaller, but I used that in my memory keeping thing for Christmas. So unfortunately I don't have it. What I do love is that this is, when I say the perfect colour scheme, it just matches it really pretty. It's obviously got a little bit more pink, her shirt does, but it's got the right kind of oranges and yellows and greens. They go together beautifully, and that was not done on purpose. I actually love the fact that it sits over. So I love, and I kind of like her facing backwards more than forwards. I don't know why, but I think I like that. Alright, so that's the base of it. Then we're going to bring in some die cut letters to do the march, because I think, I'm trying to decide if I want to do the whole, just the MAR, or if I want to do, actually I think they might be too big. Okay, well these are the Concord and 9th tall type ones, so if we think those ones are too big, I'm going to grab some of my Lawn Fawn ones. Just hold on. Let's try Henry's from Lawn Fawn. I think that might work. Just sort of seeing where they fit. M-A, where's the R? Either that, we could do M-A-R down the side like that. That allows me a bit more room. And then I did want to pop on like a critter or some animals or something, but I don't think I'm going to have room, which is kind of annoying. I'm just grabbing this piece out. I really love that Dream Big Little one. I don't want to cover up the plaid, it's too pretty. This is a problem when you're working on such a small space. I just love those stripes, so I'm just trying to keep as much as I possibly can. My paper cutter's gilt exists in every piece of paper I cut except plain white cardstock. And even then, I still get some gilt. I'm just sort of thinking if it sits like that and we have it as a circle. Part of me that doesn't want to do this is not having fun. So I'm just trimming this out, just catching a little bit of the orange around the outside. Thankfully, it's not a perfect circle, so it doesn't matter. Like it's not a perfect oval, so it doesn't matter if I'm not quite perfect. And I think I'm less likely to use this orange one at the top, so I'm going to use that to cut out my march. So we'll pop pop them on there. I'm also going to cut this out twice from that leftover white cardstock because I want to give it a bit of some weight. So I'm going to stack them all up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got my little letters there ready to go. So I'm going to start assembling this. Now, I like to work with glue tape, you guys know that. So I'm just going to start off with building this up onto my piece of white cardstock. I missed, it's okay. So I'm just lining that up. Glue tape gives me a little bit of time. So don't have to stress. I'm just rubbing it along some of the edges with my sanding block. Does two things. Knocks off any of the little glue dots that I've missed. And I'm using the really, it's not the really fine edge, it's the next one up. But it also knocks off any of the fuzz that you sometimes get with cards, with die cuts. Going to do the same thing on this one. I'm just not sticking this one down yet. I'm just sitting it there just so I can sit everything on top of each other. Actually, I'm just tacking it. It's a teeny tiny little bit of glue tape in the middle, and I'm just using it just to hold it still for me. So I think we're going to have, I've got to remember that her head's going to be, I don't want it to be off the page. So that sits there. And I'm just using a little bit of that washi tape that I had before holding my die cuts down. I'm just seeing where this fits. I might have to move my march, which I think is fine. This doesn't have to sit perfectly. Okay, well, let's see if we can move Charlotte down a little bit. I like that. I think that looks okay. And then if we pop on the MAR in the top corner, I think that looks cute, and it kind of matches up, like where Charlotte's ponytail is, kind of matches up with the bit on the top. I just want to see very quickly what it would look like if we went the other side. I feel like that sits differently. And I like that side better. See, this is why I shouldn't play with things, because then I end up changing my mind. No, I like that one better. Righto, so I'm doing two things here. First thing I'm going to do is stick that bit together, because I know I want that to sit there. Actually, hold on. I just need to bring Charlotte down a little bit because I was cutting off her head. That's better. And neither of these have to sit exactly like straight. They can be a little off center, which is what they're kind of going to be. And I'm going to use a little bit more of the tape that I had just to hold these still on the cardstock. So when I flip this over, I'll be able to put little pencil marks of where I need to cut Charlotte's head off. Which makes me feel horrible, but is what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to trim this with some scissors. I'm not looking at her, so I don't feel bad. Not looking at my child while I cut off the bottom of her. There we go, and there we go. So now this is really easy to kind of position because I know it's all straight. So I can take this bit off. And I'm just debating if I'm going to put this up on some skinny foam tape because I'm a crazy person and like the dimension. But then does that take away from my letters? I think as long as it's skinny foam tape, it would be fine. Yeah, right. So I'm going to stick these two together first. That's the first thing I know I want to do because I need them to be stuck. Got a little bit too much glue tape there, but that's okay. I'm going to take this off and stick it down properly. Get that in the right spot. I love that combination. You can be sure that I will come up with, or not come up with, I will recreate that peach, brown, green and orange combo with my plaid turnabout stamp very, very soon. Seem to have misplaced my my foam tape, my skinny foam tape. So I'm going to use these foam squares instead. Foam squares or foam tape, it's not really a big difference. So I'm just going to place all of these down. These ones are just a little bit thicker than I think I wanted, but I still think they'll be okay. So I'm going to stick all of these down because this might take a minute. And then let's just check. This is just my Express It foam tape. No, it is about the same. I don't like using the squares on big spaces. I feel like they are better used elsewhere in little particular things or on little ones that I want to use little bits of foam for. So I don't like using the squares on big things. So I'll just have to use the regular tape, and I'll see if I can find my skinny foam tape somewhere. It's on my desk, I just don't know where. Alright, so now that I've got that sorted, I'm just lining up. Oh, I love that. That fits beautifully. Just being really gentle with the washi because I don't want to tear my paper. Oh, how good's that? Except for when I move it, I can see mess on Charlotte's head, but that's okay. And then I'm going to use a little bit. Oh, I love that. So now the march just sits just underneath that foam. So it actually ends up working better because it kind of gives it an extra little bit of dimension without meaning to. So I'm lining these three up on my glass mat. I'm just making sure I'm happy with the spacing and everything. I think that's good. So I'm just picking this up with a bit of tape. Just going to pop that on there, and am I happy with the spacing? Actually, I kind of think it needs to be a little bit wider. Doesn't actually bother me if it's not straight. It'll be fine that way. So liquid glue for this one just because it's easier to get in those little small spaces. And it gives me a little bit of time to wiggle. Then we can wiggle this into place. It's underneath there. I'm just going to leave that with the washi just for a sec. While that's sitting there, I'm just jumping into my sequins. I've just grabbed out a couple of different ones. I'm just going to see if one speaks to me enough. I think I just want something down this side because it just looks a little bit empty, and it's not the gold, because the gold is the wrong colour. Yep, no, not the gold. Maybe these ones, but I'm finding a hole in my sequins collection. I don't have rose gold. Okay, I don't like the shininess of that one, which means if I don't like the shininess of that one, I'm not going to like the shininess of the sequins, I don't think. So these are orange, not brown, but you know, I don't like it. Okay, so I don't then think I like the shininess of these ones. No, I want it to be matte. So I have two other choices. I've got these little enamel drops. Actually, I've got three choices. Got the enamel drops. I've got my Nuvo drops. I'm just having a look. This is how I get them to flatten out. Oh, might be the Nuvo drops. Or, this is something I saw Jennifer Maguire do. These are some of my Tim Holtz pearls. They're actually a Christmas collection. I hate when I can't find things. I can't find my little triangle trays. Just grabbing one of these little whitish coloured small ones. It's actually blue, but I'm just going to grab a chocolatey kind of colour from my Copics. Let's actually get the one called Cocoa. We'll see what this looks like. So I'm just going to colour these in. Now I've got it on my sticky mat so that it sits still, but it's not doing a very good job. No, I'm going to go with the Nuvo drops. I just think it's going to be a little bit easier and not going to take quite as long. I think that other way does work. I think it'll be beautiful, would be beautiful, but for this one we're going to do it with the Nuvos. So I'm just going to put these back. Definitely need some brown gemstones, so it's going on my list. Okay, so before I do that, I just want to pop on the hooky bit so that I make sure I can hang this on my calendar. Doesn't need to be this big, I know that, but I just sort of measure it roughly now and go with it, because I can generally wiggle it to do what I need it to do. I need that to be smaller. Definitely don't need it to be that big. Also, it just needs to be a piece of cardstock, so it doesn't need to be really beautifully cut or anything. It just needs to, it does need to be the right way though. Sheesh. Should make it this side up for the back. So I'll just pop this in just to see if it fits or if it's sitting in the right spot. Just needs to come down a little bit more.
go. I have sticky stuff sitting all over Charlotte's face. There we go. So it's going to sit beautifully there. So then I just need to put these Nuvo drops on. And then that will be my finished project. So with Nuvo drops, I like to try and make them as flat as possible. So I'm just popping it down onto some scrap paper first, as in just doing a bit of a practice. And then I like to flick. Now the hardest part's going to be that this is already kind of on my bit of cardstock, but I think I can do it. So I just want to do 3 down the side. Try not to get too much of a peak, which, you know, I went and did anyway. It's also sometimes a good idea, whoa, not to pull the lid off, just to give it a bit of a clean out. I can try and get this to settle. If I can't get it to do it, I'll just push it in. Just try not to, I'm still not doing it. Just trying to knock the tip off more than anything else. It's just a little bit too, there we go. That's better. It's still not great, but it's better. I'll try that with this one, another one. I've now gone over the top, but anyway, it's done. So here's a little bit of that pin just to try and smooth them out a little bit. It's still a bit peaky, but it's not as bad. Someone wants to tell me how to do this properly, please let me know. I'm still learning with Nuvo drops. Okay, give this a bit of a flick. Because there's so many of them now, I can kind of do it all at once. I don't know why it works. I see it on things and it works. Yeah, no, I like that. I do. I feel like the March bit may be a little bit lost back there, but for the general gist of it, I think it's actually really cute. And this is just a different way to sort of do these calendars. I feel like I went into it thinking I'd do little scenes. So doing, whether it was like a tea party or doing the space one like I did last time, it's just a way to use different like stamps and stuff. This is a different way to do it. I'm using paper instead of, I'm using a paper pack instead of actually sort of a new stamp set or anything. But I like something different. I like something different. And as much as I was trying to really use the alphabet ones from Concord and Ninth, they just didn't fit. And that's okay. I can change my mind. I can do different things along the way. But I love this paper pack. I will definitely be using this again. I don't know on what project, but I will definitely be using it again. So there you go. That's my March little card for my calendar. If you want to see January and February, I will link those videos down below and you can go and check them out. I'm going to do these ones every month at the end of the month. So if you are interested in the ongoing one of this, please follow along. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. If you enjoyed this one, give it that big old thumbs up. Don't forget to follow me on my socials and I will catch you again in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!